Lana, the response to the State of the Union, and I know the jokes and everything has been done at this point, but I was so fascinated by this woman. Fascinated, not in a good way. Fascinated when I literally was watching it. I had to turn it off. I was so uncomfortable watching this Katie Britt
Kitchen
response to, and I even wrote down with her, and it's funny because they actually alluded to it on the Saturday Night Live skit of her, Scarlett Johansson. I don't know if you saw it, but she played her. But I literally wrote down, is this woman doing a response to the Republican debate, or is she playing a character in a Jordan Poole movie? Because that's what it felt like. She was so fucking creepy in that creepy kitchen. And it was so weird. Did you sit through it?
Yeah, the whole thing.
I couldn't. I had to turn it off. I literally got uncomfortable.
I was mesmerized because I was just like, how much more is she going to do of this? Because it was just the way her face kept contorting from how she popped on near tears talking about the border and the rape victim and rape over and over. And then she went to, and Biden's age. He's older. He's been in this politician longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
Like
and then that weird whisper and then the seduction. And then it was just way over the top.
So much.
Well, if anybody didn't see it, I'd be shocked. But here's a quick clip of her. I can only do a quick clip because it's just so weird. But this is Katie Britt doing what many are calling the worst response in the history of the State of the Union.
This is the United States of America. And it is past time, in my opinion, that we start acting like it. President Biden's border policies are a disgrace. This crisis is despicable. And the truth is, it is almost entirely preventable. From fentanyl poisonings.
Fentanyl poisonings. Okay. This is going to piss me off if I don't know what it is. Sometimes my Wi-Fi is not playing the videos correctly, but obviously extremely over the top. Second of all, I told you I'm going to touch on this tonight. I am done. I am over this immigration thing being our number one issue in this country. It's probably not even in the top 10, to be honest with you. It's an issue, yes, but not in the way that they are saying. Again, we'll touch on that. But that was Katie Britt. But the more fascinating thing was she told a little story during her response. And there was a gentleman, a journalist, who actually looked into it and said, this doesn't sound right. Now, there's a clip here of the gentleman. It's 7 minutes long. Obviously, we're not going to play the 7 minutes. But in the first 20, 30 seconds, this is what he did his investigation on. This is what he's alluding to.
You have no doubt seen this woman on your For You page at various points today. That is Senator Katie Britt, the junior senator from the state of Alabama, who delivered the Republican response to Joe Biden's State of the Union last night. It was weird, but the part that was the weirdest for me, the part that was the most off, was this.
When I took office, I took a different approach. I traveled to the Del Rio sector of Texas. That's where I spoke to a woman who shared her story with me. She had been sex trafficked by the cartels starting at the age of 12.
So that's the little clip that he's talking about. He did a full research on this, and what an idiot. I did not write down his name, but many people had seen this, and he did the research. And it turns out that Katie Britt was either completely lying, she's an idiot, or she just wanted to mislead the entire country. Number one, she was not sex trafficked by a Mexican cartel. Number two, it did not happen in the United States.
Right.
And number 3, it did not happen under Joe Biden's watch.
That's the most important, because she wanted to say this is all Biden's fault.
Happened under George W. Bush's watch, but again, it didn't even happen in the United States, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Exactly.
So the young woman that she was talking about, her name is Carla Jacinto, and she actually responded to Katie Britt's, basically her, if you want to either call it a lie or a mislead, whatever it is you want to call it, she responded to it. And I thought it was important to hear what she had to say about her name being talked about as a political pawn, really.
That to me is not fair.
Trabajo como vocera.
I work as a spokesperson for many victims who have no voice, and I really would like them to be empathetic. All the governors, all the senators to be empathetic with the issue of human trafficking. Because there are millions of girls and boys who disappear all the time. People who are really trafficked and abused, as she mentioned. And I think she should first take into account what really happens before telling a story of that magnitude.
And Erica, Carla Jacinto also told me that Senator Britt got many of the facts of her story wrong. First of all,
okay,
Jacinto says that,
unfortunately,
one,
that's kind of
not
screwing up. But he goes on to reiterate what she was saying, and that a lot of the so-called facts of what Katie Britt was saying. And again, that's why what we were just alluding to. This is all fucking theater for these people. They don't care about Lake and Riley. They don't care about that young woman that was raped. Even in that very bizarre response, Katie Britt had challenged Joe Biden, saying, since she's been senator, I've been to the border 3 times. How many parents of Uvalde did she visit? How many parents of the kids who were murdered in movie theaters, churches, schools?
Correct.
Yeah. So, that's why it's impossible to take these people seriously. But the reason why we have to is because this ridiculous message is getting out to people, thinking that this is legitimately the top issue in the United States is the immigration issue. And it's not even in the top 10.
Right. Right. Well, it shouldn't be. Like, stop playing.
And again,
there's a bill. Biden said sign the bill. Did y'all hear him? He's like, give me the bill. Let's do it.
Well, that proves even more that it's not the issue that they say it is. I mean, if they say it is the most important issue, and then we have something on the table to go ahead and address this issue, then, it's funny too. I saw a video, somebody resurfaced a video of Donald Trump back in 2019 when there was a big immigration, there was like what they call the caravan or whatever it is they call it. A lot of migrants coming into 2019. And he was on TV, sort of not a State of the Union, but he got on TV and asked Congress to pass a bill to help stop this. But of course, there's a lot of people in my comments on this fucking show where they're telling me Joe Biden can just stop this whenever he wants to. All he needs to do is sign it. And people don't understand that's not how it works.
Like, what do they want him to do?
Why didn't Trump do it? If that's
right, sign a document and do what? Like,
to close the border is what they say. He needs to just sign a document and close the border.
My magic wand. Problem fixed.
Yep. Well, that's what it is. And there's too many people thinking that the president has a magic wand. They don't understand how it works. And I think this is part of the problem is we are in a world now where people like you and I, and again, I would admit for myself, Lana, you could speak for yourself as always. Do I know every single detail of every single thing? I do not. But I do feel I know enough to have an intelligent conversation with people about politics, current events, and news and all that stuff. But right now we are in a world where we've invited a group of people into this conversation that are not in it because politics is the old boring policy talk. They're in it because it is entertainment now. Politics is entertainment. Politics is WWE. It's Jerry Springer is what it is. And now I've got people who couldn't even spell politics are now talking to me about how things work in this country. And it's extremely frustrating because they have zero clue on what they're talking about, but they're injecting their opinions like we're the stupid ones.
Right. I read somewhere on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, someone had said in response to one of my posts, I don't even know what it was, but something like Biden's gonna make China and Russia rich or something.
Right.
What?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Like,
It's just
think that when Trump is the one who's cozying up to Orban and Putin and China, like
well, I mean, literally, I work with people that are just, they just don't know any better. They're the ones who tell me that, illegal immigrants come in here and they get free stuff and they don't get tax. I mean, I was like, what are you talking about?
they want to work. Like they literally want to work. And
Well-
those Midwestern states, they need them to work because maybe if they had some immigrants in Arkansas, they wouldn't have your 12-year-olds freaking putting on roofs and like working
Right.
in the slaughter factory cutting up cows.